Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Let me check the stream really quick. See if I can pull up the chat. All right, good morning, everyone. Talking Barry Harris today. Let me make sure we're good. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. I did a PDF this morning for Chord Academy, and it's another Barry Harris thing, the concepts we're going to do today, and I uploaded it upstairs. And then when I uploaded it to our folder, I realized that I didn't change the name, and it basically, the thing that I uploaded isn't actually the document, is a document for my student. So it's piano music, it's just the wrong thing. So just know that Chord Academy, I have a really cool PDF. Everything that we covered today will be in that. All right, we're talking Barry Harris. Let me just say hello to everybody. And you're going to love this lesson. It's going to kind of be a continuation of what we did yesterday, but at the same time, taking a good look of drop 2 and a Barry Harris scale that's really important. Dave P., good to see you. Vicky, good to see you. Dave, thanks for being an All Access member. Vicky, thank you for being All Access and everything else. Dad, good to see you. Thanks for being a triple dipper. Everything, good to see you. Doug, thank you for being a YouTube channel member. Awesome. And Vicky, okay, so far, I think I have everybody. All right, let's dig in. Let's have some fun with this. The first thing we're going to do, yesterday was a lot of fun. Tons of response on my Barry Harris, Genius of Barry Harris. And although we're not going to go through this course today, we're going to talk about an important thing related to Barry Harris. So let's dig into this. It will end up being a drop 2 idea, and you can ask questions along the way. And we do want to celebrate 2 new members as of yesterday to the YouTube channel. Shout out to Leandro and Adrian. So they signed up yesterday, and I put the Barry Harris PDF inside the membership area, as well as tons of other things. Good morning, Hugh. Good to see you. All right, so I'm always looking for the next person to join us. I think we're going to get to 20 soon, but let's dig right in. So here we go. The first thing I want you to know is Barry Harris loves the 6 chord. So C, E, G, and A would be our 6 chord in the key of C. This will be sort of a beginner kind of scenario, but it's really advanced. Even though it's beginner, it sounds advanced, so hang in there. C6. Okay, that's a great voicing. Last night we were doing that. We were doing D pedal with a D6 down to the diminished. Middle voicings were moving in root position. This kind of sound, and you could do it over the G. So we did some nice lessons based on that. But right now we're talking about C scale and the C6. So this is really important because if I play a C6 in root position, I'm going to do it down here. And if I want inverted, I put the bottom note on the top, and now we have a C6 first inversion, right? You put that over C if you want. If I do it again, invert it again, now I have a second inversion, C6. And look at the third inversion of a C6. It's still the note C, E, G with a triad, but now it's an A minor triad, right? So let me do that again. Root position. First inversion, second inversion, and third inversion right there. And then it just starts over again. Okay, now if you understand that, put got it in the chat. And this is going to get really awesome really fast. So I want to make sure everybody's on board. We have 9 people watching. Good morning, everybody. One thing you can do for me is like this video. I've been joking around, but it's kind of serious that it shows on my end we have one person that's liked this video so far, or 1 people, however I want to say it this morning. And so make sure you like the video, and if you want to get brave and say hello in the chat, I would love that as well. Okay, so again, C6, first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. You just do it again. All right, good morning, SD. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is, is this Sharon, SD Willie, or is this a new SD? Because we have a Sharon W. I just want to make sure I have everything right. So we have first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. That's great and easy to understand. The next thing is we're going to add the diminished diminished chord. So you could play a diminished chord like this: D, F, A, flat, B. right? Then you invert it again, it's still the same notes. F, A flat, B, D, invert it again, same notes. A flat, B, D, F, and B, D, F, A flat, right? All right, new SD. All right, I'm either going to call you SD or Willie. How about that? Or SD Willie. You get to choose, but we're so glad that you're here. Awesome. All right, now this is our diminished chord. This is going to come in handy here in just a minute, so hang in there. D diminished is the same as F diminished, is the same as A flat diminished, is the same as B diminished. And what's nice about the diminished chord, there's so many different things in the diminished scale, so many things you can do with it. And the fact that it's only 4 notes, there are 3 different diminished scales, and then they just loop. There are 12 notes, 4 notes each. You go up a half step, that's 4 more notes, and then that's another 4 notes. So 3 different diminished chords. And then it repeats again. A D diminished is the same as F diminished is the same as A flat. Okay, now what's great about that is you can invert those however you want. It's going to sound fantastic. I could go, if I played, let's say if I was in the key of E flat, and I go, I'm about to do an intro, and I can hit a B flat, I can go up a half step and play a diminished chord. And that's that, right? Anyone? All right? All right, very good. I kind of like Willie, and I kind of like SD. So we'll think on that one. So watch this. So right there, even that is a fun thing that you can do with a diminished chord. And all I did is say, you go up a half step from whatever your dominant chord is, and those are the notes of the B flat 7 chord with an additional flat 9 note. And that's a really important thing, which I'm gonna mention in just a second. I could go, but it's giving me that cool flat 9 sound that we want. I could go like this. I could go. So I could go. I mean, do something really fun, but that's not the goal of this lesson. Just to point out, this diminished sound is so fun and so important to know. Okay, so why in the world am I mentioning that? Because if I play a C6, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go from a C chord, a C6 chord, and this is a Barry Harris-ism that he does. With this, then you go to a G7 with the flat 9, okay? Okay, I'm going to play it, and I'm just going up the scale right now, and all I'm doing is alternating between a C6, and this is actually on your PDF. So let's do that again, that part. So C6, D diminished, C6 in first inversion, D diminished in inversion, or F diminished, however, and then there it is again. So all I'm doing is every time I'm going C6, D diminished, and then C6, D diminished, C6, D diminished, C6, D diminished, and C again. Isn't that a fun sound? Let's turn it around. C6, D diminished. Okay, isn't that fun? Okay, let's do it a couple more times, and make sure everybody, make sure you like this video and say hello in the chat, like Willie did, and all of my members. C6, and it's fun to also just practice the inversions as well. And notice that on this one, I'm doubling the top note and the bottom note. We're starting there. We're going to go into some drop 2s in just a minute. Okay. And this is a 40-minute lesson. We will be done at 8:40. That's when we wrap up this morning. Okay, so here we go. C, and then I'm going to go D diminished. Again, D, F, A, B, and then I'm adding this. Now, what a fun sound, right? And you hear that all the time in music. It's such a neat thing to do. Now I want you to think about this. If I play a C chord and then I play a G7, that's a 5 to a 1. And that's basically what you're doing with that D diminished. You're creating this kind of G7 flat 9 sound and putting it with 1, 5, 1, 5. 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. You guys like that sound? So 1, 5, 1, 5, a diminished passing chord. We're just using it to go to the next thing, and we haven't even done our drop twos yet. It's gonna sound amazing when we do that. Everybody put it that you got it in the chat. Now look how I'm practicing this now. I'm just thinking about melodies. Ba da 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 da. Now I'm thinking F. Isn't that, we're still on the very beginning of this one idea, but isn't it fun? We have 7 people watching. Thank you for watching. Again, a shout out to Leandro and Adrian for joining our YouTube channel yesterday. Awesome to have you, and so excited. We are at 18 members of the YouTube channel. Who knows that I'm excited about this? All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take it to the next level. Let's talk about this scale that is so important for jazz musicians. You hear this all the time, but if I come down a C major scale, if I go C, B, A, G, my chord tones, watch them, they don't go on the downbeat. So if I go, that's on the downbeat, that's on the downbeat, but that's not on the downbeat. That's not a chord tone. That's not a chord tone, right? So there's a fun thing you can do and should do is you can put your A flat in your C major scale. And what that does is it creates a half step to keep things on downbeats. Watch this. Chord tone, half step, chord tone, chord tone. Okay? It's a very important thing to be able to do. And that's what this scale helps do is you come down the C major scale and you go here, chord tone, chord tone. Another thing I like to do is to roll up those notes. By the way, everyone, Rick says hello. He couldn't be here, but you know what, Rick, even though Rick said he couldn't be there for 2 different days. Oh, okay. That's so funny. So much nicer than the guy from, hey, watch out, I have a symbol over there. SD, I'll be, it's way on the other side of the room. You don't have to worry about it coming at you. Thanks for joining us, and please come back. All right, so watch this, everyone. It's coming down. It's just getting into the good stuff here. All right, the next thing, so we just talked about this scale where you add that half step. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the drop 2. I think it's important because we're going to need a little time to do this. If I play a D minor 9, how beautiful is that, right? We've been doing this. If I go F, A, C, D, it's kind of a nice little shortcut of taking a D minor and putting an F major 7, you have that. Okay, so if we were going to turn that into a drop 2 voicing, what I'm going to do is move this up here, and let's say that that's my voicing. So 2, 5, 1, the most common progression in jazz, 2, 5, 1. If I take the top note and I put it down the octave, the second note from the top is what I meant to say, this comes down an octave. Now you have that. Even how beautiful is that? I'm going to put a D in the bass. And instead of this, which sounds fine, I could do that for days. We could use that pattern, but instead we're going to do a drop 2. We're going to drop the second highest note from the top, and you have this. This is 2, okay? And once again, you notice that, I mean, that's just a beautiful thing that we're doing. Now watch this. If I go, I dropped the second highest note from that G chord, so your B now comes down, and I'm doing that diminished shape right there. Now watch this. That would be my normal chord. I'm going to go. That would be my C major 9, but I dropped that down the octave. Again. Now, even I want you to see what I just did there. I took a regular D minor 9, which is this, in inversion, right? We have this, and I dropped the F down to here. So I dropped the second. I did a drop 2 there, right? I'm going to go to 5, and I drop the 2 again, and then watch. I'll drop the E again. I drop those, and then I'll go here. I'll go. Let's do it again from the beginning. We're gonna go. And like here, let's go, okay, now we're gonna do something next. We're gonna take the same idea. If this is our C6 chord, well, what is our drop 2 there? We go here. Whoa, how nice is that? Instead of B diminished or F diminished, we're dropping that. So I'm dropping 2 on this diminished. What about the C6? There it is right there. I dropped this E. Now I'll do the actual drop 2. Well, let's do it again from down here. So drop the 2 of this, it would be an A. I like the sound of if I did that and I went. Here we go. Let's do C again. We're going to go, instead of this, we're going to go. just experimenting with the sound. What do you like out of that? And practice rolling up. Sometimes I like the sound, just so we're clear on a couple of things, I like the sound of that closed position with the C and the C. So sometimes I'll do things like that. I'll go here, and I'll take that C and just roll it up. And then I'll do the same thing for D minor. I like those crunches right there. There it is right there. Closed position there. Diminished. Drop 2. Go. What's up, Diego? Everybody say hey to Promise, which is Diego. That's nice right there. So remember this idea, if I say you go to the 6th chord, which is A, right? And you go up a half step and you play a diminished chord. That's exactly what I did. But the thing that I did is I added the A and I did this. A little tension there, but nice, right? That's closed position. Here we go. I wouldn't play like that. I just want you to hear it. Here we go, watch. that is again. So let's do it again. Let's do the drop 2. I could go here, I could go. And I could go. D minor, I could go. And then go up, diminish. All right, let's do kind of a review, and then we'll wrap it up. It's 8:32. I have 8 minutes to pull this off. Just kidding. All right, so with Barry Harris, the simplicity and the beauty of using that C6 with a D Dorian, D diminished, right? The reason it's a D Dorian scale, but the reason it becomes diminished is because of that A flat. We talked about this C scale where you add that flat 6 in there, and especially on the way down, it keeps chord tones on downbeat. So I like to practice my major scales like that sometimes. If you're playing a jazz lick and you go, it keeps the things on the chord tones on downbeats. You don't always have to have chord tones on downbeats, but it's just a good rule to outline the harmony. If you look at Bach, Beethoven, any classical composer, pop music, whatever, you're going to hear chord tones on downbeats. Super important. Gospel, whatever the style you like, you're going to have a lot of chord tones on downbeats. It just outlines the harmony. It helps you know the harmony without even sing let's see, just popping in. Awesome. Go back to work. All right, Diego. Yes, I will be seeing you very soon. And congratulations on all your stream setup and everything. Very cool. I joined your Discord server. So, all right, guys. So let's do that. Everybody say bye to Diego. He's going back to work. So a good practice point, let's do this again as we wind up, is that if I'm practicing D minor 7, I'm going to do like this. Right now I'm just doubling the melody, and I'm doing that little, just kind of like almost like a horn line kind of practice. So I'm going D minor 7. And then I like going up to the 9th. The 9th gives you that beautiful sound like the horn line from Perdido. So you can even think of 2/5 there as such a great thing. Listen to that. Minor 7/5/5. I had to do it. Fun little fact, when you hear at the beginning of this lesson, I said you could take if G7 was your thing, and you wanted to go up a half step, that you could do an A flat diminished, right? We already talked about that creates that flat 9 sound, and you can even go all these little fancy things. But when you hear great players like Oscar Peterson and all this, when they're doing these, if I did a 2 and I go to the 5, and you hear Oscar Peterson doing these things where he's doing an E triad over a G, that's that cool sound. You You hear this Oscar Peterson all the time. In fact, that's one of the things I can't remember. It's in thousands of his songs where he goes. Right, and he goes to C. So that's just 2-5-1. And what that does is that's a G13 with a flat 9. Isn't that a fun little tip there? Okay, so how are you going to practice this? How are you going to put it all together? Here's step 1. We just did drop 2, and I'll go over that again. But I want you to think of the C major scale, and I want you to do C6. C, E, G, C. That's from the C major scale. That's the root. That's the third. That's the fifth. That's the sixth. And that's the root again. And what I'm doing first is I'm doing the inversions of that. I get that shape down, and I do like doing the what I call the Rick roll now for one of our members, and then G6, C6 again, right? Notice that looks like an A minor 7 as well, just a little fun fact. And then there's your last inversion, and then it starts over again. So practice doing that. Like go to that one chord and practice doing that for your melodies. The next thing is you're gonna do the same thing with D minor 7. Okay, and all I'm doing is straight up D minor 7 right now. I did put the 9th in there. And I can do here. Okay, now I also like going up to the 9th. I didn't do that right. Let me do that again. And then here. That gets me up to the 9th. How beautiful is that? Now watch this. If I go back to that same idea of lowering those middle notes, and now I have G13 flat 9. How beautiful is that? I could do little fancy things. I could put both hands together. And if you're a solo piano player, you're going to want to occasionally do little fun things like that. I love to take, maybe it's my classical background of playing Ravel and Debussy and all those classical composers, but I love to take little flashes and flares of stuff like that. It's a really important, fun skill, and it's not just to be flashy. Sometimes you want something a little different, right? So you take any chord, and you could just go 5, 3, 2, 1, same thing, and I go up the octave and do the same thing again. And you practice it slow at first. Okay, the next thing is, we just said you can go here, and then watch this. I'm going to resolve to C major 9. You hear that? I go, and I could come down with that same thing. Now I'm doing a C major 9, but watch how crazy this is. If I do a C bass note with an E minor 7, right? That gives me a C major 9. So why don't I also think of E minor coming down for my C major, and I can do all those inversions. And then yes, I can go to the 6th chord and do that trick we already said, you do a diminished. Okay, so practice those. I'll do it one more time, and then I'll do the drop 2, and we'll call it a day. Here we go. C. You're going to work on those. And then you're going to do D minor 7. Same thing. Go up to the 9th. 13. Now C major 9. You think E minor 7. And then I can think of A with the B flat diminished. A really important thing. It gives you the flat 9 of the 6th chord. And then what I want you to do is practice this fun little loop. We're going to do a D minor 9. You're going to drop 2. Dropping 2 means you drop the second highest note down an octave. Listen to how beautiful that is. And the harmony I did is like this. 2, 5, passing tone. 3, or 1, 6, 2, 5 with the flat 9. 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, flat 6, flat 2, 1. What do you guys think about that? We have 13 people watching. I'm showing once again 1 like. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed the heck out of this Barry Harris stuff I've been showing you guys. This is inside, the Barry Harris is inside the YouTube membership and Chord Academy as well. And I have a new PDF going in Chord Academy, and I'll also put it in the membership area as well, just so you guys can have it to practice. This Barry Harris PDF is really cool because you know I've been doing these tips right here, and I just have a different way of looking at it. I call it like we do inner voicings move down on that inversion, then the lower voices move down, and then the outer voices move down, and then the upper 2 voices move down. So I did this whole thing on Barry Harris based on what I call, like, it's like a outer, lower, middle, upper middle. There are drop 2s, drop 4s, drop 3s. And I just love that concept. And then if you guys want to hear the audio file, just click the icon, okay? And let me do this. My Chord Academy members, it is in there ready to go. Let me go back to here really quickly. If anybody has questions or you want me to work on anything specific, now is your chance to put it in the chat. And I'm going to look up the Barry Harris thing really quickly here. Oh, another thing that I did that's kind of important is, because we had 2 new members to the YouTube channel yesterday, I put 2 of my courses inside the membership area. I put Blues Volume 1 and Blues Volume 4, which Blues Volume 4 is crazy. You probably saw where I did a lesson on that. It has some really cool classical, almost Chopin-like things, and it's really cool. And then there are a lot of licks in there that take you around the whole keyboard. So, and you're using a different bass line, kind of a second line groove on that one. So that's also in the membership area. So Doug says that's a lot of chords. Yes, Doug, it is a lot of chords, and that's why I said you're going to start here. Start simple of this. C6, C6, closed position, and you get used to that. And even if you have to do 1 chord at a time. And then you're going to do the same thing with diminished. 4 notes, just inversion. And the great thing about just that one move, even if you don't do the drop 2s, is that you can think about C, and you could think about this as just like a passing thing of G, right? C. And I can think of G. And then I can go 2. Let me do it again. 2, 5. Here we go. 1. And then once you get used to it, comfortable, then do the drop 2. And all I'm doing there is flat. I'm either doing C major or some kind of flat 9. Even when I do something that may or may not sound fancy, when I do that little, Oscar Peterson used that all the time, and I love, love, love that idea. If you're on a G7, just go to the 6 and do a triad, straight up triad, an E triad. Do it in inversions, and that gives you that G13 with the flat 9. So 1, 2, 5. That sound. All right, we have about a minute or 2 to say goodbye and thank you again. I always want to give a shout out, just like you guys. Thank you to our amazing community. I love the fact that we picked up 2 new members as of yesterday. We have 18 members of the YouTube channel, and we have I'm thankful for our All Access Academy and our Chord Academy as well. Dave P., good to see you. Thankful that you are an All Access member. Vicky, same to you. And thank you for being a member of the YouTube channel as well. Dad, thank you for being a member of everything. Doug, good to see you, and thank you for being a member of the YouTube channel. We're at 18, guys. That's awesome. Hugh, good to see you. Thank you for being an All Access member and a Chord Academy member and and a YouTube channel member. I love our community. Dave P. and SD, good to see you this morning, hanging out in the chat. I love that. Vicky, good to see you again. Promise, thank you for being my new student. And you're an awesome guy, and glad that you stopped by today. See, that's Doug. Anybody else? You have 30 seconds to say goodbye. I always say that, but I think I mean it today. You have about 30 seconds to a minute to say goodbye. And if you have any questions, like if there's something you need help with or that you would like for me to cover, now would be a good time. And if you want to join the YouTube channel, I would encourage you to do that because it's an insane amount of stuff. For the investment you give, it's so awesome. The community, all the charts you get. If you do sign up for the membership, you just hit join, you pick your tier, and you're going to be happy no matter which one you choose. But you instantly go to my channel, my main page, which you're already on, but click the membership and you'll just see like Memphis folder is insane. And that's just over the last 2 weeks what we've been doing. Because I always write songs for you guys as members. Let me just show everybody this really quickly. I think you'll be able to see this. Actually, let me make sure I'm in the right one. Let me do it in this. So I'm going to go to the Memphis folder. This is just for anybody who maybe not understand what I mean about what you get being a member. So I'm in just one of the folders, which I created about 2 weeks ago. This is just all these PDFs that you see, like Blues for Marla. What it's going to do is going to give you left-hand voicings and right-hand material like this. Like just very simple jazz trio things to show you how to play trio style. There are courses in here. Let me just do this for anybody that's still watching. I'm just going to read some of the titles here. And all these are crazy. They all the charts teach you something. Just this last 2 weeks, we've done in the member backing tracks. You have Pin Triplet Blues, Ron's Cup of Coffee Blues, Blues for Marla, a blues shapes course. You could pay $30 in my store, or you could just get it inside the membership area. Copy of Shock to the System Blues. We have Bills, No Bills to Play Blues, the Yard Work Blues, Dave's Leaving on the Plane, E-Blues Tips, Gospel Tips, a Jazz Trio Blues on the Move in C, Low Volume Blues. We have the Scots Blues, Memphis Blues, Sharon's Blues, Tony's Blues, The Genius of Barry Harris. The whole thing is in there. And more E-Blues tips. That's one folder. That's insane. And then I just did 2 more of my blues courses that I put in there because the reason is we're in the process of learning all these licks. Like, how do you play this lick right here? All of my courses take you through exactly how to play it. As a second version, try it. Or how do you play a Dean's List? How do you play these little licks that I always show the fingering and the sheet music. Even if you're not a reader, you can follow along with all the different videos. And that's true. We're not even talking about all the crazy videos that you get for just being a member. Anyway, that's enough preaching here on that subject. But can't wait for the next person to show up. Vicky, thank you for your $2 donation. You're always going above and beyond. Thank you so much. Let me say thank you for that. And if anybody's out there is wanting a private lesson, you can let me know. I've picked up a couple new students, and I'm super excited. And Sharon is my newest student, and she's a member of the YouTube channel. So shout out to Sharon. All right, office hours closes in 30 seconds. Hope y'all have an awesome rest of your day. Have fun with those voicings, like your drop twos. They're so nice. The sustain on this piano is amazing.